Grizzly Jack here, and today's video is on the NECA Ultimate Roy Burns from Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. And yeah, I didn't do anything. I didn't kill nobody. Alright, let's get on to the video.
At last, this will be the final Friday the 13th figure to be released for quite some time, as the lawsuit between Sean Cunningham and Victor Miller has affected merchandising, and it's a whole complete mess, so I won't try go too much into explaining it, other than the fact that there's some misinformation going around that NECA didn't lose the license. They still have the license, it's just that they can't use it, okay? So, without further ado, let's take a look at the packaging, as the front cover features the lovely VHS cover. On the spine of the box, we have an image of Roy here. I believe this might be a shot from the film that, NECA slightly edited. I'm not quite sure, but that's what it looks like to me. And then on the back, you have some cool, the typical gallery photos directly from NECA, with some little chevrons kind of acting up as the frame. You got the ambulance there, and a little read-up, so you can pause if you'd like to read that. And on the inside of the flap, we have another image of Roy here. And then on the inside, most people are kind of confused what the hell it is exactly. As far as I can tell, it's the inside shot of the barn towards the end of the film as Roy kind of walks in. That's what it is, but just the cardboard backing and the print and everything, it's so dark. So now that we got the packaging out of the way, we can take a look at his accessories, as Roy comes with pretty much everything that he's used in this film, despite the double-sided axe, in which, of course, the Dream Jason, comes with that. So to start off, we have the railroad spike, as we didn't technically see Roy use this, even though it was kind of in the head minister doctor guy's forehead, pinned up against a tree. So that's the spike, or railroad spike. Next, we have the kind of makeshift hunting knife with the wooden handle. Definitely this is a small knife, that's for sure, because I'm so used to the retro cloth version of Roy, where the weapons have to be a lot bigger, since it's the scale is slightly different. Next up is the road flare. Kind of wish that it had a translucent plastic, so the flame effect would look a little bit more neat, but I mean, it's a solid sculpt. It looks pretty good. Pretty cool that he actually has this. Then we have the meat cleaver, and I believe he killed, 3 people in total with the meat cleaver? He killed Ethel, he killed Junior, and that one kind of nerdy kid that had a pretty bad stutter. Next up, we have the hedge clippers. One of the most creative things that he comes with is the tree branch and the kind of leather strap or belt, if you will. As you'll see towards the end of the video when I get to the photo gallery and everything, I made a pretty cool photo using this, so stay tuned for that. Getting down to the last 2 weapons, of course, we have the trusty machete, and I'm not gonna lie, the blood on this machete is fantastic. This is spot on to what blood actually looks like. It's that dark, consistent red. It's not something that's too bright or vibrant. It's very dark, very gritty, really good. And the last weapon that he comes with is the metal spike rod. Honestly, this kind of reminds me of a stop sign or just some kind of yield sign. That's kind of what it reminds me of, but it's a metal spike. Demon was killed with this while he was on the shitter, so probably one of the most shittiest ways to die. Get it? Never mind. And the last accessory, if you will, is an alternate left hand, gripping hand, of course, for the hedge clippers. Now, getting on to Roy, I got to say, I am very, very blown away with this figure. However, the arm sculpt and the complete leg are reuses from the 2018 Michael Myers, which I don't really have a problem with. As you can see, we have the tractor wound when Reggie, he hit him pretty hard. So you got that gash there. My only gripe with the gash being there is that when you would display Roy, say with, a weapon that he used earlier on in the film before this incident happened. It kind of does take away from it, but that's just very minor. It's not like the most noticeable thing in the world. All around, you have all the wrinkles and everything, and I believe even like the back might be reused from what I can tell in photos. But NECA surely did know how to reuse and repurpose things that they could do. Getting down to the hockey mask and everything, well, this version that I have is actually relatively clean. I've seen others that are kind of a little bit more weathered, a little more dirty. This one kind of suits my preference, so. And then unmasking Roy himself, man, I am quite surprised with how the likeness is. This looks pretty much like the actor that played Roy. Dick Whean looks pretty much like him. Like his eyes, like he just, he looks like he is not in a good mood. Of course, the inside of the hockey mask is blue, and you have the kind of like silver kind of lining going throughout the bottom strap, which really is a good attention to detail, as I think in the film you can kind of notice it, but I think it's something that, can be looked over. Well, it's good to see that Roy has finally been immortalized in the 7-inch format. Back in the day, you would honestly think that this would never be possible or highly unlikely. Seeing that we have Roy now, the possibilities of Jason Takes Manhattan, a pre-Uber Jason, you name it, we'll see those sometime in the near future. So, without further ado, I'll go over the articulation as it's the standard typical, as always, NECA articulation. So we have a pin at the neck so he can look down about that low, look up about that high, pretty good. You have pin socket shoulders, double joint at the elbow, as this is a first for any Jason figure. Of course, since the arms are carried over, but still. You have a swivel and hinge at the wrist, sort of. And, of course, there's no waist articulation, but that's not really a problem. You can kick out with the leg about that much. I like how actually the other leg, both legs move when you mess around with them. That's interesting. Single joint at the knee, and then you can hinge. Not really much hinge, but definitely can pivot a bit at the ankle. Like I've said, a phenomenal figure. NECA knows what they're doing. Hands down, if there's any toy company that I trust with this property, it's NECA. They go for the realism. They go for as accurate as possible, in which they shine on that. So, the good thing with this figure is the hand has such a tight grip. The accessories aren't going to be going anywhere. I don't know, honestly, what I'll display him with. I may display him with the meat cleaver, maybe the machete. Obviously, from some, it'll be the hedge clippers. But yeah, I am satisfied with this figure. I, of course, recommend any Jason figure as always. But with that, I would like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And until then, see you all next time.